from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Today, I'm here to bring you great conversations around spirituality and how spirituality can work in your everyday life. I have some exciting guests, and each week I bring different guests from different walks of life and doing different things. And it's exciting because we get to see how they use spirituality in their lives. So it's been quite interesting to have the different guests on and to work with spirituality. So I'm here to support you in just living your best life with joy, with grace and ease. And in doing so, I like to bring people on that can bring some joy, that can also bring some practical applications for spirituality and how it can work in your life. And since people come from so many different walks of life, there are a lot of great tips that you might get. So if you like the show and you like what's going on, follow me. I'm at Rev Granetta on Instagram, and I am Reverend Granetta Briggs Mason on Facebook and on YouTube. So tonight I have my Law of Attraction tribe. And I call them my Law of Attraction tribe because we get together and the premise that we use is the law of attraction in how we are living our lives. So we're big Abraham Hicks fans, and she talks about the law of attraction. And we got together as a community to explore spirituality. I don't want to spend a lot of time in this opening because I want you to meet all of them. So we've created this community called the Law of Attraction Community, and I'd like to bring all of my guests in so that you can meet them and we can talk about how this community has worked for us. So come on in, y'all. We got Jasmine Briggs. We have Christian Bush. We have Chelsea Simpson, Brittany Bush, and Venus Wilder. This is my Law of Attraction tribe. Welcome, guys. Y'all coming in. I guess they'll all be here soon. We all went to Momentum together. They're coming in now. We met at Momentum. Momentum, if you guys don't know, it's an organization that provides coaching and workshops that will support you in your personal and professional development. So we've all done Momentum. We started out together where we were doing, we do Zoom meetings. We had Marco Polo, which was a lot of fun. Marco Polo, we used to make videos for each other. That's how we first started. And now we moved to Zoom meetings. We have groups. So here we are. So let's start. Brittany, introduce yourself to the people.
Hello, my name is Brittany Bush. I am from Houston, Texas, and I am a local actress and theater teacher here in Houston. My sister invited me into the LOA tribe, and I am so happy to be here.
Yay. Chelsea?
Hi, folks. So it's an honor to be here. I am a teacher and facilitator of social design and activism. And so I teach at the New School. I have a company called the Emerging Leaders Project, and we do trainings and community building events for next generation leaders and companies that hire next generation leaders. And I'm a coach. So, you know, we all have this sort of beautiful conglomeration of just like, how do we care effectively? I think is sort of one of our group, orientation points. So that's me.
Great. Jasmine?
Hi, everyone. I am Jasmine Briggs Rogers, and I am a career coach and resume writer. And I help people love their Monday morning. So I help clients figure out what their personal genius is and create a strategy for their career. I am also the director of career services at Berkeley College at the New York City campus.
Hey, Venus?
Hey, everyone. My name is Venus Wilder, also known as V Tierra, and I have multiple hats. I'm a singer-songwriter. I'm also a medical doctor, business owner, mother. So I'm so excited to be here, talk with y'all tonight about the amazing support that I have received from this amazing group while trying to balance all those things.
And Miss Kristen.
Hi, I am Kristen Bush, and I currently reside in New York. And I am a social worker by trade. I got my MSW at Columbia. And now I work in higher education, working with students in a variety of ways, from coaching to program design, et cetera, et cetera. Now I'm mastering Zoom. So I think like everybody else, we wear many hats. And I definitely have gotten support from this group in so many different transitions, and I'm entering a new one. So I'm glad to have this group as a support.
Yeah, and we talk about like different spiritual practices in the group. We talk about consistency. So in this conversation, let's share about, how the tribe has supported you throughout your spiritual journey. We've been together like 2 years, and we've created this great space. One thing I want to say about the space is there's trust, there's no judgment. We come here, we cry, we laugh, we tell everything. And if we just need a place to go and be quiet, we could just come to this group and not have anything to say, but we're here. So talk about, how this group has supported you on your spiritual journey in the time that we've been together.
So I would love to say that this group for me, and it has felt like I've made some genuine girlfriends. And with that has come a level of trust. When I was going through something, this is the group that I went to cry, to talk, to gain support. But what was nice in terms of spirituality is I felt like we had a shared language. So I could come and talk about certain things that I might not feel comfortable talking about with everyone else. And I feel like that shared language around spirituality, around personal and kind of transformation really supported me, and then helped me take it to a new level because I learned so much from the group, and my spirituality has even evolved just because of the women in this group and what they have brought to my life.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think it has really provided help with a foundation. You have your foundation that you have when you're growing up and that you develop as a young adult, but as a woman who is trying to do so many things, but also stay spiritually grounded, it feels really powerful to have women who are walking through the same journey. And that is really has been so helpful for me. On the day-to-day, like having that support, like Grenetta's so great with sending out like inspirational quotes, or we share different like books that we read with each other, articles, YouTube videos, different religious practices, or different like a meditation program has been shared. So it's just really good to have that. And as far as consistency, that's something that's really big in our group, about, okay, you found something that has helped you to get through this part, this difficult time, but don't you need to maintain that, in order to make sure that we're not having highs and lows, but we're able to enjoy life in the day-to-day. So that's been really great too, like challenging us to choose our spiritual practice that we want to do regularly and routinely, and that we can hold ourselves accountable to, and the rest of the group.
Yeah, I would say for me, I think you hit the nail on the head, V. First is consistency. Our first meeting, that's what we talked about. And I would say that has been one of the biggest things it's provided me with, is a consistent group to talk about how am I growing, how am I developing, where am I at with my goals. The other thing I say is, like, I have a lot of friends that are doing dynamic things in the world. But I think one of the things about being independent women is that we don't have this type of girl group, where we're always all checking in on each other at the same time. It's more like I'm checking in over there with this person, and then I'll check in again, every so often. So I think to have like a group that's all kind of doing this work, and that's all like meeting at the same time, same place, on the same chats, talking about the same thing, has really been really powerful as well.
Yeah, all that. I was thinking about this, and I feel like I truly, all the changes that have happened since we started meeting, quitting a job, traveling for 6 months, starting a company, moving, like I can't imagine how, without the grace and ease training, without the mindset training from this group and the shared practice and the sense of psychological safety and emotional security from just having people who I could be really unvarnished with the things that weren't shiny or social media ready, that felt really like unbaked and not worked out and painful, and that even there could be shame around, just the real human stuff that comes up when making these big transitions. And the faith that I've been able, the faith muscle that's supported me through developing myself personally and professionally, so much of that I tie so directly to my relationships with each person in this group, and not in a very both like theoretical way or mind way, but also very tangibly. I've stayed at people's houses, we've gone on vacation together, we've cried together in some ways that are very just tactile. Gone to Jasmine's wedding, been able to be part of these moments that there's no replacement for, that have just changed the course of my life.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything everyone has said. It's just been such a blessing to be a part of the group, and to just, it's almost like, I hesitate to say this phrase, but it's almost like positive peer pressure, because I feel like I'm in a group of peers that are all just pursuing excellence and being authentic and, trying and failing and trying again. And so I almost feel like I'm absorbing that, but then also it's like inspiring me and challenging me to just do it in my actual life as well. And so even when we're not meeting, it's like I've absorbed that energy, that positive pushing forward, always trying something new, never giving up, self-love. I mean, it's cool to have ambitious women in your life who are accomplishing amazing things, but to also have them be just as devoted to their personal lives and their spiritual health, and that balance of relationships is really, really inspiring. And I think it's changing me in such a positive way to be a part of the group.
Yeah, when I bring people on, I like to talk about the transition, your spiritual growth or spiritual unfoldment, right? So can you take a few minutes and talk about, like, you're now all adults, so you had a spiritual background. How is that playing out now? Anybody can jump in.
I can jump in. You go, Brittany.
Yeah.
What? Oh no. Okay.
You shouldn't exhale so hard.
Oh. Well, I really think that I feel like the group keeps me honest. It's like, you can read something or watch something and feel inspired in that moment, and then just kind of settle back into the way you've always done things. But I feel like being a part of the group and having that level of intimacy and transparency with the other members of the group, it made me more internalize and digest and apply to my day-to-day life the things that I maybe would have just let be theoretical or intellectual. Now it's a lived experience, my growth. And I think that's, even from growing up in a Christian tradition, you can be, I definitely consider myself to be a Sunday school kid where all the right answers, but when life comes at you with challenges, are you able to meet those challenges with the spiritual principles that you've been taught? And so being part of a group where people are always talking about how they're applying these spiritual principles and how it's creating fruit in their lives, by osmosis, it's like I start to think that way. And I feel like I've taken on challenges I might not have without this group. And I don't know, been more it just changes you. It changes how you think and how you act day to day.
I'll be right back. You guys keep talking.
What?
A lot of trust in the group.
Okay, Kristen.
Okay.
Who's next?
The question was, how has your spiritual practice changed since being in the group? Was that the question?
I think your spiritual
Yeah.
journey and your spiritual.
You got it.
Your
I hope I answered
spirituality, is
that.
what you said, Jasmine?
Yeah. Something.
I would say, since being in the group, that's a good question. I would say, I also look, Brittany and I are sisters, in case you didn't know. And I also grew up in the Christian Lutheran tradition and loved it. Like, had no issues, no qualms, no traumas. But I've since become, I would say, Christian woo-woo. And sometimes being a Christian woo-woo when your family's not Christian woo-woo can be a very isolating experience. So having a group of people, like Jasmine said, who speak a little woo-woo language has been, but also kind of get where I'm coming from when I'm speaking about Christianity, because I feel like it's easy to find one or the other. It's very hard to find people that are comfortable straddling both or a myriad of things has been invaluable. And I'll also say, being with this diverse group of women, and I don't mean racially, like, I feel like there's artists, there's coaches, there's doctors, there's business people, there's like, being with this blend and seeing like how people interpret certain things and how people, like Brittany's saying, act in on different principles based off of their discipline and their understanding, I think has given me a richer understanding of certain principles. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing to say grace and ease, and I'm just coaching a student. It's nothing to say grace and ease, right? And it's nothing to say grace and ease when your friend is like kicking you and say, get your business started. And I'm like, I'm not a business person. So I think seeing like just the diversity of people and diversity of experiences has broadened my faith and strengthened my faith and expanded my faith.
Well, I will say, I'll put in a little secret. Reverend G is my mother.
Uh-huh.
So I was
Lots of
raised,
family connection.
yeah. I was raised Christian, but I wouldn't say that I was raised in the church, but I was always raised to have a very strong understanding of God. And my family's from Memphis, Tennessee. So when we went to the South for the summer, that's when I kind of went to church every summer and kind of started to get kind of the foundation in that sense. But what my mother instilled in me, I feel like I didn't get until I was older. And it was that sense of mindset and what are you thinking about and the law of attraction. And I feel like throughout my journey, especially when I was older and I went back to school for transpersonal psychology, she was the one that really opened me up and showed me these types of books. And so now to be in a group with women who speak the same language, I feel like, and I love the term Christian woo-woo, I feel like it's okay now to have, to be like what I am and my spiritual beliefs feel accepted here. And it is like, I love that Christian woo-woo. I think that is definitely where I reside and with like Jesus being the ultimate teacher. But I also went through a period where I kind of rejected Christianity in a sense. I still believed in the principles, but I rejected the religion. So to come back to the beliefs and the principles without the kind of the weight of the religion feels really comforting. And I feel like I can be that person in this school.
Nice. I mean, I have had a similar experience. I don't really have too much to add. I would just say I grew up Christian. I still identify as Christian. I don't know if I would say I'm Christian woo-woo. I don't know if I would put that term on it, but I definitely think that I have more of an awareness now and practicality of mindset, positive mindset, law of attraction. You act out your thoughts, check your thoughts. And that has been very helpful. In particular, like I went through a very difficult time with a divorce and also a serious illness that I was able to heal from, thank God. And also with the help of the women in this group, and like really just having to like will my body, you know, when I was going through my illness to like, I'm going to be healthy. Like, I'm going to get healthy. And how am I going to go about, what is that process? Like every day, just like focusing and meditating on that and praying on that and fasting. And yeah, and I think the principles that we, you know, the law of attraction and the Abraham Hicks, I wasn't aware of those different ideologies before. And I don't think that they are antithesis of Christianity. I actually think that for me, it's like a healthy adjunct, like something that supports like the foundation of the Bible, and seeing in practice how I could make these adjustments to benefit, you know, my health, my life, my mindset, so that I'm able to move forward. It has definitely helped me.
What I could say about that is I understand that whole new understanding Christianity. So you added to it, and it's not far from it. It's all the same. I've studied a lot of religions, and as I said, they all are looking for the same thing. The end goal is the same. It's just different ways, you know, like many paths to one, but it's the one thing. And I get what you're saying, because I also have a new understanding of Christianity to where I can live it and be in it, aside without, I guess that's like without the religious part of it, but just living it. What does that mean, and what does that look like? And understanding of Jesus Christ and the Bible, all that came later for me also, because it was like I rejected it, and I rejected it from not understanding, I guess, you know. And then now that I have a clearer understanding, I can embrace it more.
Yeah. And I think also like religion as we know it has a lot of doctrine, you know, that is even separate from even the book, you know, but it's like, okay, when you go to this church, this is where you sit. This person wears this person says this. Like, is that helping me in the day-to-day as I'm like battling like illness, when I'm battling like family issues? Like how am I, like, what is the support? Like, what are the practices that I need to put into place in order to like move forward? And I think that having these different elements that support it, the foundation for me, which is the Bible, really helps me to practically implement these things into my life.
I'd say, for one, it's just such a joy always to listen to everything. That's part of it's true in this moment, and it's true in all of our calls, and just enjoyment of each person in the group. And so getting to just downs and craziness is like a spiritual practice in a way, and that sense of being able to have a group of women who are getting in each other's corner, and not just like, oh, it'll be okay, I hope you feel better, or like, oh, good for you, like, you know, clap emoji. Like, we're actually there in it with you in the moments where I know for me, there's been like felt the most vulnerable in feeling like I needed something or somebody, and have been used to just self-soothe, figure it out, find a solution, do the next right thing, you know, like watch something, but to actually show up with people and be met in those moments. Aside from all of the formal things we've done together. And I also actually love that we get to be a group where, you know, not all millennials, not all people are as open and also exploring structured religion. And I like that we can all have our combination of woo-woo, Christian woo-woo, meditation practice, mindfulness, nothing, you know, whatever is there for us.
Right.
In conversation with that. And I like that there's a real freedom. And so, but even within that, just to be able to be a place where I can bear my unfinishedness and be met feels like the most rich spiritual part for me. That's been like, I think, permanently healing as a person.
Great.
That's real talk.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, I just got a flashback of, I won't even, going to a church, and you know, you have to go to the new members group, and having a conversation with somebody about something spiritual, and it was like, because I was offering something that wasn't textbook definition, they weren't even willing to engage in the conversation. You know what I mean? It was like, no, you need to know the text. I'm like, I've been known the textbook. I went to Lutheran school for 12 years. Like, I know the text. I'm trying to have a deeper conversation. So that's real talk, Chelsea.
Yeah, and that was one of the things, what inspired me. I've been going with this conversations with Reverend G for a long time, right? And it was about creating a space to have those real spiritual conversations. And you guys were the group where we really came together to have real, honest, spiritual conversations. And we're all from diverse backgrounds. I mean, and we're all, what I like is that we were all able to have our own spiritual practices, be wherever we were in it. That was like, everybody was just supporting us. Okay, if that's how you want to do it. And, you know, I pushed a lot of Abraham on y'all, but, you know, there was also that. So also what I want to talk about, and I think we've talked about it in terms of like how this group has been important in your spiritual growth. So this is the tribe, and we've been on our spiritual journey. Can you talk to a little bit more to how this group has supported you in your spiritual journey?
It's been beneficial to me to have a community of people that I can, you know, touch base with and also share in what they're experiencing. I think just as a human animal, that's something that is natural that we need, is that kind of connection. And like everybody's saying, there's a sense of unconditional love here. It's not, you know, you don't have to jump through some weird hoops before you can have an authentic conversation. You don't have, yeah. So yeah, community, intimacy, and like I said, it just really has helped me to reinforce a lot of the things that on principle I believed, but I didn't necessarily have a way to enact them in my life. And just specifically, I would say I had an audition mishap. I crashed into something in the garage and everybody just swooped in. It was like a whole bunch of superheroines were like, you can do it. Don't give up. Just visualize it. You know, there's like my life coaches just came to my rescue. And when I was in China and it was the day I had to teach, I was like, why am I here? Why did they hire me? I don't know how to teach. And I've been teaching for 12 years, but I was just like, ah! And I just pulled out the affirmations. And for an hour, Granetta, I was just doing my affirmations. And it was amazing. Like, it just transformed that whole experience. So those are just two examples of how being in the group directly like gave me a life raft, both in community and just by myself, because I had a practice that I'd been consistent with. It came to my rescue in a time of emergency. So
I love that. Oh, go ahead.
I'll be quick. I'm not talking about that. But I would just say, you know, it's easy to curate your life to basically like keep your own blind spots in place. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm the queen at that. So this group has really became like a no bullshit zone in a loving way, you know? Because with all the different people, like Jasmine's a coach. Everybody on here is a freaking coach. So, you know, they're smelling the BS when
they can sniff it. Yeah.
When it's delivered. But then again, like I said before, because also people have been active in so many different domains, you know, it's not just, oh, I'm all with my social worker friends, or you know how you call that one girlfriend when you want that bit of advice.
That answer.
It cuts that down. Like, it basically has become a space where it's accountability for me, I think, in one word. It's solid accountability. and it's sound accountability. You know, even the Bible talks about you need people who actually have a sound mind to be giving you advice. So knowing that, I know these people are putting these things in practice in their own life, like, and they know the word, they know, you know, the woo woo, they know it in their bones. Like, it's just really good accountability.
I have to say, I really have to give kudos to Grenetta, because Grenetta is our fearless leader. And I think that it really adds to have a woman who's older, who has been through some stuff, who has had experiences and is willing to be honest and vulnerable and help us in that process. I think that that's instrumental as well, because, you know, we're all at a similar, like the rest of us, I think, are at a similar stage of life, and there are, you know, certain experiences that we're navigating together. But then to have someone at the head of the ship that has seen this before, or has seen, you know, her friends or other people go through similar things, it has been very, very helpful. It's like having an amazing auntie that can help guide us through the process. So I'm very, very thankful for that. And I think, you know, the rest of us are. And she holds us accountable, and the consistency. I love too that in the group, we were, you know, in order to be vulnerable, you have to like have relationships. I think, you know, a lot of us have pre-existing relationships, the family members we see in the group, best friends. We're all at some point a part of this group called Momentum that really, I think, helped. It's like a life coaching session. And that really helped to bring, I think, the vulnerability and make us more open. But I was going to say, we have found different ways over the last 2 years to transition how we communicate. And I think that's amazing too. Like, we were doing calls, and then we transitioned to Marco Polo and people doing videos. And then we use the text messaging a lot. And all those things in this different forms has helped us to continue to communicate. Some people feel more comfortable with verbal communication, others more written. So I think that has helped too with us growing and learning from each other by keeping in touch by any means necessary, basically.
And the Marco Polo was good because you could make a video whenever and go, and there wasn't the commitment time, and we would all just watch the videos and share. So that was a good phase too when we were doing the Marco Polos. We got to the Zoom, it gets a little bit more complicated with the Zoom, right? Because we were doing it consistently, and then maybe there was football or church or
soccer practice
that came up, right? That we, you know, kind of the consistency of that wasn't there. So, you know, we've been talking about, you know, spiritual practices, and one of my things is the spiritual toolkit. So what I'd like for you guys to think about a moment and share what would be your top 3 items, your top go-to items that you have in your own personal spiritual toolkit, because creating this toolkit is different for everybody. And there's so many different types of spiritual practices that you can create your own personal one. So will you guys share what, like, the top 3 things that you currently have in your toolkit? Because it does shift, you know?
I think one top thing I would say in my toolkit is that I have the ability to talk to Reverend G whenever I'm having an issue. And you would think that it's always a smooth conversation, but it's generally an argument. The first thing he said to me is, how did you attract this? I'm like, wait a minute, it's my fault. She's like, it is your fault. And how is it your fault? But I get there, and eventually I see how it was my fault, or how I attracted it. But sometimes, so I would say that's number one. And sometimes you go, why did I call her? But I know why I called her, because I needed her to tell me it's my fault. How would I be in that moment? I think along with that, meditation and yoga are really important to me, to the point where I don't even want to work out anymore. I just want to do yoga, and listening to Abraham Hicks. So I got an Abraham Hicks book from you years ago, and it sat on a shelf. And then now it's become like this last 2 years all about Abraham Hicks. So I just think that's so hilarious. So thank you for introducing me.
Mine are daily devotions. So I have the Bible app on my phone, and I try to read one every morning. Some mornings might be a little rough, but I try to, like, a couple of times a week to do that. The devotionals. I also love walking and being in nature. So I try to make sure that that is a part of my daily routine, at least like 10 to 15 minutes being outside, being in the sun. I live in Florida, so and just like using that time to just like try to calm my mind, to say a prayer, to really connect to the universe, to God and the surroundings, and myself. And then the other aspect that I've gotten better with, clear with, and it works, that I've started using is fasting. And the Bible says I've had some big problems that I needed big solutions for. And so you want to answer, fast. And so that is something that I have incorporated more into my practice, and I have found to be very, very helpful.
That's beautiful. Recently, the word that I feel like the humility and persistence feel like the words that come to mind, that I see as having as part like the overarching motto of my relationship with myself. Like, how do I get, my practices have changed, whether it's morning meditation or walking, but some moment intentionally where I'm opening up enough space where I can get out of the ideas of my illusions of control or my trying to solve or figure it out, and open up to something like reminding myself through actual practice with my body that that ain't the game. It's not going to work. And then having relationships, I feel like the other part of that humility and persistence, where that same practice is incorporated and embodied, and there's a we space, and there's a trust, and there's a knowing that a trust that someone wants and can be a channel for something that I might not be able to see or hold in that moment, and a willingness to keep surrendering to that, and keep fostering that and nourishing that, and then finding that outlet in my work. Finding that kind of energy in my work is my third spiritual practice in my toolkit that I really feel like has been something I've been leaning on, and able to lean on more from this group. And like, just to what you said before, Venus, about Grenada being this paragon, like this critical linchpin for this group being able to stay together and be what it is Grenada. And the fact that, like, we talk about grace and ease, we talk about surrender, like, what the hell does that even mean? In practice, it's like really hard. And every part of us, often is like, especially when it's really meaningful and it matters, that's when, for me, some of my nerves might kick in the most, and I want to plan it and I want to figure it out. And so to have someone like Grenada, who's, holding this beautiful space, and in those moments reminding us that's actually where the practice is, has allowed me to have that reflected in higher levels of my life and my I can't imagine at this point having been incorporated so deeply unless it was supported in those scary personal moments that this group has offered, and particularly with Grenada's guidance.
I probably am just going to echo what everyone else has already said, that I never would have used the word humility, Chelsea, but I really think, because I was trying to think of my third thing, and I was like, okay, self-forgiveness, self-love, saying yes all the time. And I think it really is just that kind of persistence with, trusting that you've got this, that, you can align with the vortex, and I'm getting all Esther Hicksy, but you can align with it and then trust it, and just keep persisting even when obstacles happen and resistance happens, and just be self-forgiving, just be humble enough to not, I never even thought about it as humility, to not hold yourself to these unrealistic standards. But anyway, so that was my number 3. but also the affirmations, as I said, are a big life raft for me. I'm growing in terms of using them, not just when I'm in a state of emergency, but so I need to examine this, Jasmine. I've been attracting a lot of emergencies, so I need to figure out what am I doing. But affirmations have helped with that. But then also trusted counsel. I definitely echo that being able to open up authentically, kind of in a way that's been modeled by this community with other people in my life that I trust, and getting that kind of counsel. I think definitely that's in my toolbox because of this group. And I also just want to echo that I feel like I stepped into a culture that had already been created by Reverend G. And it was a culture of love. It was a culture of acceptance. It was a culture of grace and ease. And Reverend G, you just embody that. Like, it's beyond language. It's just, you come in and you just have this vibe. And I'm just like, I'm feeling it. Even if I can't understand it with my brain, I feel it and I experience it. And so, yeah, I just really see you as a lighthouse. And sometimes I was thinking to myself, you're the youngest one in here. You're just like, oh, I didn't even think about that. I just go with Grace and Ease. I'm like, I've got bills to pay, Right? Reverend G's just, she's still in her teenage. She's in her teenage phase. I'm like, what? So, yeah.
I feel like I'd be echoing everything too. But I'll just start. I'm not gonna go on a particular.
You're low, Kristen.
You sound far.
Your volume
can you
is
hear
low.
me now?
A little better. Seems like your volume went down.
Better?
I think that's better.
Better.
Okay, I'll shout.
Okay, shout.
I'll shout. I would say this is good because I won't talk too much. I would say definitely Grenetta, you are my spiritual godmother. Thank you, Jasmine, for sharing your mom with us. I say that to myself all the time. Grenetta is my spiritual godmother. I go to her for all kinds of questions. So thank you. Another thing I would say is I guess it would be radical. I hate that term, but it would be self-love and really calling my own bluff. I think a lot of people talk about it and it's like, oh, take a bath and no. I think, and you taught me this, Grenetta, really watching your thoughts. That has been the biggest thing, and being intentional about cultivating your thoughts. You know what I mean? Almost as if you're building a house or planning or whatever, planting a field or whatever it is, cooking a cake. In the same way, you have to choose the ingredients, you have to measure them out. You have to actually cultivate positive self-talk. You know what I mean? So I'm very consistent. I think that's my third thing with that. I'm very consistent with that. And I will put myself in experiences that are reinforcing that.
Thank you. That's really good. As you guys were talking, I was thinking about that you all are around the same age, right? And with everything that's going on right now, right? Can you talk to your feelings about what's going on now and what spiritual practices you have been using to support you during this time? Because there's a lot of uncertainty. There was this other thing that happened today and so it's just this continuous, and I'm saying grace and ease and you're like, what? Right? So can you speak to, what's supporting you right now?
I think that grace and ease is so important. I love that phrase. Where'd you get it from, Grenetta? Did you come up with it?
Yeah, because, I think for me, I came up with it because of everything I've done, I've just gone for, you know, like the degree, the job, the hard work, just like going for it. And I was always on this go for it, get more, do this, do that thing. And then I realized that it wasn't about all that doing, right? It was about being. And then when I understood what it meant to be and not have to do all that doing, then I was like, oh, yeah, you know, and you met my friends Donna and Denise, and we've all been practicing it and talking about it because we meet every week. So we've all kind of flowed into the whole grace and ease thing, and we supported each other in getting to understanding what it means. And so for me, I'd like for you guys not to do it the way I did. Don't do all that do and running over here, running over there, getting 5 degrees, running to this place, struggle. Be intentional, be about it, watch the thoughts that you keep, and then you won't have to have the stress of all that running around. So, and that's what I really would like a part of what I like for you guys to get when I say grace and ease. You know, there's always some actions we have to do. I had this thing called the doobie song where I was like, do, be, do, be. I was always doing, right? But I shifted it now. But now it's like this, Venus, you just gotta yes. You gotta do a little bit of something, right? But not all that, right? And so it's about like setting the intention. You know, I always say, if you set the intention, you know it's gonna happen. Just get out of the way and let it happen. Setting the intention, keeping positive thoughts, right? And just being in it, knowing it is this more than all the running around that we do. And that's what, you know, is important for me to share with you guys, along with, you know, like developing these spiritual practices to support you even in being, to support you in not having to be stressed out. You know, one of my favorite Abraham things that I tell you guys all the time is everything is always working out for you, right?
Yeah. Amen.
And to really believe that, you know, really can support you when you get stuck. It's not to say things won't happen. It's not to say you won't get through the moments. It's not to say life doesn't happen, but how do you respond to it? And what can you pull out of your little kit for whatever comes up, right? And we get there with the consistency. So I asked her, because we have a few more minutes, I would like for you guys to share how you're getting through this time, given everything that's going on. And I want you guys to, jump in with that. When I was excited, you guys were coming. I was like, oh, just like old times, we're gonna have our little conversations.
I think that there's been a lot of contrast. Like, there's a lot of things happening, but then my sister came to town and we walked around together and ate a donut. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I think, it just makes you really zero in on what really matters and to really savor those special moments that are a contrast, because as scary as it is to think, could I be the next person to die from police brutality? Or what if the election goes a certain way? Can I stay in the United States of America? But
or COVID.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And then, being cooped up, and even the introverted introverts are like, can I get out of the house? So all that is challenging, but I think it's challenging because of this group, because of the spiritual practices. It's also challenging in a way that I feel will lead to great things, growth. I had the privilege of being part of a group that once or twice a week would have a think tank on Zoom. and we would have a certain experience of just certain racial terms, but we were encouraged to have the experience physically and not just intellectually. And then also look at the victims of police brutality and what systems are invisible that contribute to that, you know, and just being a part of that, because it was sort of a theater experience where they didn't know there were actors involved. It was really healing and just inspiring to see, number one, people that decided on a Saturday to pay and sign up to do something like this, people of all races, and then to have them connect dots and start forming solutions and steps. So I think sometimes that narrative, that overarching narrative, really isn't representative of what individuals are feeling and doing and what steps they're willing to take. And some of the best nights were when some of the participants would step into our like choreographed argument or whatever and try to defend me or speak out, or, you know, and that's something they were doing out of their own bravery, you know? So there's so much going on all around the world, people living out their purpose, even if it's not what the headlines say, you know, and connection to all of these things, political, you know, we have a doctor here who every day is on the front lines of that, you know, and that's so inspiring. And so I think it's important to let those stories in too, and while absorbing the truth of what's happening, come out on the other side with, you know, how can I live out my purpose in this time?
That's beautiful. Yeah, we are getting really, really close, and I want to.
Oh no, I talked too long.
I know, we'll have another conversation. Any last minute shares that you would like to share, and you can tell people how to get in touch with you.
Sure. So I was gonna say exactly what Brittany said. How what's helping me right now is focusing on the good that's coming out of it, the kind of the light that's being shined on all these different areas. But I hold monthly happy hour, kind of to shine a light on careers and professional development. And so our next one is September 8th, and we'll be talking about personal branding. So come join us again to create a group of like-minded professionals who want to talk about their career and talk about who they're being in their career, not just what they're doing.
Yeah.
So you can reach me to jasminebriggs.com or email me at jasmine@jasminebriggs.com.
So I'll say something, grace and ease. I'm really trying to practice that. I've been told several times I'm very type A. I know that. I like to do a lot of stuff, but also I don't want to be a do. I would love to just be a be and relax in it and just glide. So that's what I'm aiming to practice and be. As far as what I'm doing right now in transitioning to be, I'm at v.tiara on Instagram, and on Facebook, you can see that too, at v.tiara, Tiarra. And I have music. So Batter Up is a song that I put out that's about being socially engaged in politics. And Digital Love is a single that I just put out. So check it out. It's about connection and disconnection in our digital world. And I am leading or co-hosting a party with this powerful women collective. We're doing a WAP party. Women are powerful.
Yeah, September.
Yeah. It's going to be September 4th. So I invite y'all to come out. It's going to be amazing. We're going to have 3 female DJs, coast to coast, raffles. We want people there. So please register. You can find the information on my Instagram. Thank you for having me today, Grenetta.
Everybody, Chelsea?
Yeah. Well, just real quick, it's a longer thing, but I think it's worth mentioning is that I'm the only white woman in the group.
We didn't even know that.
Yeah, it's a surprise. I was waiting to tell you until we got to the Reverend G show. I thought it was fun to come out.
But we love you, Chelsea. We love having you in the group. You know, we don't even, you know, it's all good.
Well, when we met, Renette, I remember you saying your first memory of me was me sharing how tired I was in Momentum.
Yeah.
But, like, just crying about how tired I was for a couple of days. And with this like background and like trying to do and fix and activism in a certain way. And part of what, long story and lots of ways of exploring it, but like, to me, the system is crumbling. The system's been broken since the beginning. The design of this system was designed to create these results. And only at this point, we must experiment with other ways of people being together and being in community, and to be able to have a sense of this community is so important for me to imagine what else is possible, and to be able to feel and grieve and be with what's occurring, what's been occurring, and have an experiential sense of what, if this is possible for us in this group, what else is possible, And so that's just something, like, as far as in this moment, it's one of the things that has been a balm and a lifeline in some moments. And so, yeah, that's it. I think people can find me online. You see my name, Chelsea Simpson, Instagram.
Kristen, we got you for Kristen. You got something to say?
I'll just be really quick. Back to the law of attraction. I mean, I've been having I had a lot of rage during this time, but I attracted a program to help me digest it, basically, which was a Yanla spiritual warrior training, which is really a 6-week program that just kind of leveled up the things that we were doing in this group, and provided, a more intensive structure, for me to engage with certain practices and tools. Grenetta talks about their toolkit all the time, to engage with them consistently and in a more in-depth way. And I have to say, it works. So I say, whatever you're experiencing, don't be afraid to lean into it. You know what I mean? And ask for what you need. Like, you don't have to deny it or pretend like it's not there. You can lean into it, and the universe God will provide you with the solution. So,
well, ladies, thank you for our online Zoom. And it was good having you guys, and I'll see you in our next Zoom, WhatsApp, or something. Have a good evening, guys.
Bye.
We love you,
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Reverend G.
Thank you, everybody.
Yes, thanks for having us.
Yeah, and it's Reverend G. I'm here every Monday night on WMS Radio from 8 to 9 p.m. And we're here having spiritual conversations with people from all walks of life. Tonight, I would like to leave you with a quick mindful moment, and that is create a community. Find your tribe, because when you find your tribe, you will be inspired. So it is Reverend G signing off, and you can reach me at Instagram at Rev Grenetta, Facebook and YouTube, Reverend Grenetta Mason. Have a great day. Love you all.